Good morning, I am Belen and I would like to introduce you to Doctor R Pinilla. In the fight against the current epidemic in Spain, he is the medical director of a medicalized hospital for COVID-19 patients, the Hotel Doctor Mateos in San Juan, Alicante. In addition, he is a PhD in economics and the leader in Spain of the NGO Citizens Climate Lobby. Today is 23rd of April in Spain, and we have been confined for almost or around 40 days by the pandemic. The curve of cases is flattening or even descending in some cases, and the media are already discussing and talking about how and when we're going to return to normality. Dr. Pinilla, you run a medicalized hotel to fight against COVID-19. Still, you are also the leader in Spain of the NGO Climate Citizens Lobby that promotes actions to stop climate change. Since the pandemic reached Spain, there seems to be no room to talk about anything else. But how can the epidemic influence actions against climate change?
Thank you, Belen, for that opportunity to speak about that. For now, it seems that climate change has disappeared from newspaper headlines, and we will not be able to carry out many of the planned actions. But social distancing and economic consequences compel us to review our behaviors and policies in general. So I want to be optimistic. Humans are supposed to be intelligent, we can learn, and the pandemic is an opportunity to learn. So we must prepare better for the next pandemic, and we must also better understand the need to act as soon as possible to prevent the worst consequences of climate change, I think.
And what do you think we should learn from the pandemic to act against climate change?
Well, I think that we can learn from the experience because there are some similarities. One, in both cases, it is a global threat with an impact on the entire planet and the human species as a whole. It is evident that we need to learn to improve our capacity for cooperation on a planetary scale. Two, in both cases, scientists have warned many years before. We knew that a pandemic would occur, but we were not well prepared. We have also known for more than 50 years that global warming is taking place. Climate change is underway. We need to get ready for the change coming and act to slow down the process. If we do not work ASAP, the process could catastrophically take speed. The process can be unleashed with no capacity for human control. So it's imperative we need to avoid that evolution. Three, in both cases, there is an amount of uncertainty. We do not have all the knowledge, and there is a risk of deciding to wait and see. It would be a fatal mistake. We know enough to act. We know that the causes are, and we also understand how we must work to prevent the worst consequences. Of course, we also need to improve our knowledge, but that cannot be a pretext to delay action. Four, in both cases, there is a problem of delay between the action and the consequences. In the coronavirus epidemic, hospitalization and death figures occur 2 or 3 weeks after infection. A common mistake is to wait for seeing as death toll grows before acting. In 3 weeks, without control, the number of disease could double between 5 and 7 times. What is surprising is that after that has happened in Italy, in Spain, most countries have made the same mistakes. What must we learn? If we can act as soon as possible, it is much easier to handle. The longer we wait, the more difficult it is, because the problem gets bigger and bigger. In the case of climate change, we have the same kind of problem. carbon emissions, and other greenhouse gases accumulate in the atmosphere for decades before we can see the consequences. In this case, the delay is not 2 or 3 weeks, but 2 or 3 decades, 20 or 30 years. We are already today at the moment when anyone can see the problem exists. We have wasted a lot of time, but scientists believe that it is not too late. But the best time to act is as soon as possible, ASAP. Because the delay between cause and effect also means that the positive impact of the changes we make will take over 20 or 30 years to arrive. The warming is going to continue for at least 2 or 3 decades, even if we act today. We have visualized this effect in the course of the pandemic. In conclusion, the most important thing we can learn is the importance of acting ASAP today.
Mm-hmm. So as you say, anyone can already observe the effects of global warming. It seems that the awareness of the problem has increased, but is it in our hands to stop this catastrophe? How do we know and how do we stop it? Do you know what we should do?
We know we need to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. We also have the technical knowledge to do it. The problem is political. We need to undertake a significant transformation of the strategy system, the energy system, and do it quickly. This change requires very different public policies. For many years, we have gone in the opposite direction, so it is a difficult political change. It is necessary to eliminate any subsidy to fossil fuels and introduce carbon taxes for increasing prices to reduce demand.
But carbon taxes can harm the economy and punish the poorest, right?
Indeed. Designing an economy policy for transformation is quite a challenge, but there is already an extensive consensus between scientists and economists on the most appropriate strategy. In January 2019, the Wall Street Journal published an economist statement on carbon dividends. The statement was signed by more than 3,500 top American economists, including 27 Nobel laureates. The proposal combines 4 ideas. 1, implement a fee on all carbon emissions. 2, the tax must start small and increase year by year so that the consumers and business do not suffer a shock and can adapt little by little. 3, the objective of the fee is not to collect for the government, but to change behaviors. So they propose to return all the collection to the citizens in the form of a citizen dividend. In this way, the poorest would not be harmed, but benefited by the policy. 4, in order not to harm the country's companies in international markets, they proposed a tariff adjustment at the borders. Some countries like Canada and Switzerland already have laws in this regard. The US Congress is proceeding now about a bipartisan act. Our organization, Citizens Climate Lobby, are promoting a European Citizens Initiative so that the European Parliament and Commissions all also adopt this type of policy.
Mm-hmm. And what is the European Citizens Initiative?
Well, you can read the details on the website of the organization at climateincome.org. Basically, the European Citizens Initiative collects the same ideas of the economics American proposal. That's to say, one tax on carbon emissions, the fee would apply of all fossil fuels across the European Union, the first year in a small amount, but with a year-to-year increase plan. 2, We want to introduce a citizen climate income. The money raised by the tax, or at least most of it, will be distributed to all European citizens. The objective of the climate trend is that only those who produce more greenhouse gases than the average bear a net cost. And 3, a border tariff adjustment to protect European companies from competition from more polluting countries.
Mm-hmm. And what do you European politicians think about this?
Well, the European Union maintains a favorable rhetoric to change the energy model for the fight against climate change. Still, the actions are far behind the words. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has proposed a new Green Deal. This is a good idea. The proposal considers introducing carbon taxes at the European level and establishing a system of tariff adjustment at the borders of the Union. So there are 2 of the 3 measures that we ask. But I think climate income is the most crucial measure for citizens to appreciate and support the policy.
And okay, do you think citizens would understand and accept this policy?
We know that in recent years, the perception of the population about the problem of the climate change has changed substantially. The data from the surveys in Spain, for example, reflect this. But I believe that citizens to accept this policy, the distribution of climate income is essential. When the citizens receive the income, we will have direct proof that government is using the collection to stop climate change and not for anything else.
And what can citizens do in this time of confinement to collaborate to fight against the climate change?
I would ask them to enter the web to inform themselves and learn. I remember the website is climateincome.org. If they are Europeans, will able to support the European Citizens Initiative with their signature, a necessary action for the European Union to introduce climate income. They can also share the web link on social networks and request support for the initiative and family and friends. And it would be great if they could help us, citizens climate lobby volunteers, according to the possibilities. I think that is all I wanted to say. Thank you very much, Belen, for this interview.
Thank you very much for your time.